You know that feeling, right? You get back from what was supposed to be the vacation of a lifetime. You've got the photos to prove it, but within a few days, you're just as exhausted as when you left. That quote just hits the nail on the head. Let's dive into why that happens. So yeah, that's what we're tackling today, the restoration paradox. We're going to unpack why our big, expensive attempts to recharge often leave us feeling even more drained. And more importantly, we'll explore a whole new way of thinking about travel that could actually lead to genuine renewal. To really get this, we've got to start with a story. And I have a feeling this one's going to hit a little too close to home for some of us, even if the budget is, well, a bit different. Okay, so picture this. It's 2019, and a top executive decides he needs a break. He books the whole shebang in the Maldives. We're talking 30 grand for the week, overwater bungalow, the works. But here's the reality. He spends his entire breakfast on his phone, putting out fires back at the office. His private yoga instructor, she's waiting on the beach while he's just glued to his laptop. And you know what happened? After just 3 days in the supposed paradise, he looked worse than when he showed up. The guy had darker circles under his eyes, his shoulders were all tensed up. It got so bad he just cut his losses and flew home early. Spent a fortune just to come back even more burned out. How does that happen? So what gives? It's really easy to say, well, that's his fault, he just couldn't switch off. But what if that's not the real story? This framework suggests the problem isn't the person, it's the product. It's this massive mismatch between the shiny vacation we buy and the deep rest our minds and bodies are practically screaming for. And that brings us to a really powerful idea, one that might just change how you plan your trips forever. It's the huge difference between impressive travel and restorative travel. On one hand, you've got impressive travel. You know the type. It's travel designed for the Instagram feed. It's about checking off a list of sites like you're on a scavenger hunt. It's basically a performance. But on the other hand, you've got restorative travel. This is all about what happens inside you, not what you can show off. It's about being truly present, having time with no agenda, and finding real, authentic moments. Okay, so if we want to get off the impressive travel treadmill and onto the restorative path, what do we actually need to focus on? Well, the big idea here is that true restoration isn't just one thing. It actually happens across 5 totally different areas of our lives. So here they are: the physical, the mental, the emotional, the social, and finally, the spiritual. And get this, being totally depleted in one of these areas can't be fixed by just throwing money at a 5-star hotel. Each one needs its own kind of attention. All right, first up, physical. Now, this is not about crushing it at the hotel gym or running a 10K on the beach. For most of us, it's the exact opposite. It's about finally listening to your body when it's whispering that it needs to be still long before it starts screaming. It's about sleeping in without an alarm clock, not another high-intensity workout. Next, let's talk mental restoration. And let's be real, scrolling through social media is not rest. It's just a different kind of mental gymnastics. True mental rest is about creating empty space. It's about giving yourself permission to just be bored, to let your mind wander without a podcast or a screen distracting it. That's where all the good stuff, like creativity and new ideas, actually comes from. Then there's the emotional side of things. We all push feelings down just to get through the day, right? Well, emotional restoration is about creating a safe space for all that stuff to finally come to the surface. It's not about forcing yourself to be happy. It's about allowing yourself to feel a moment of pure, unexpected joy, or even finally letting yourself grieve something you've lost. Fourth is social restoration, and this one's a big one. You can be surrounded by hundreds of people on vacation and feel totally, completely alone. Real social rest comes from quality, not quantity. It's that 3-hour dinner where the conversation just flows, or a simple interaction that feels like a real connection, not just another transaction. And last but not least, spiritual restoration. And no, this doesn't have to be about religion at all. It's about tackling that empty feeling you can get even when you're successful. That is this all there is feeling. It's about finding a sense of awe, connecting to something way bigger than your daily to-do list, whether that's in nature, art, or history. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's check out a fantastic case study that really brings it to life. And that brings me to this amazing word, arophile. I mean, on the surface, it just means someone who loves mountains. But its deeper meaning is so much more. It's someone who seeks out high places to find a higher perspective, to literally and figuratively transform themselves. So let me introduce you to Stefan Marshall. He's a Belgian guy who's a true orophile, and he founded an organization called Himalayan Ecotourism. And his own words here just say it all, don't they? It's not just about his own adventure. It's about making things better for everyone around him. And what he's built is just incredible. This is not just some tour company. It's a social enterprise that was literally born out of solving a conflict between a national park and the people who lived there. The local people aren't just staff, they're shareholders, they're owners. This model provides deep social restoration for the whole community, and for travelers, it delivers spiritual restoration by connecting them to conservation, to purpose, and to a culture built on respect. Okay, so that's an amazing story, but how do we bring this home? How can you use this? Well, before you book anything, the most important shift is to go from seeking a prescription to getting a diagnosis. You have to figure out where you are most depleted. So, let's do a little self-diagnosis right now. First, the physical. And be honest with yourself. When was the last time you woke up feeling genuinely rested? Not just, functional, but truly refreshed. Are you ignoring that nagging headache or that constant back pain? Those are your body's signals. All right, now let's talk about the mental side. Here's a test for you. Could you go a full 24 hours without checking work emails or Slack and not feel a knot of anxiety in your stomach? If that question makes you squirm a little, that's your answer right there. When was the last time your mind was just quiet? And how about emotionally? Think about it. When was the last time you felt pure, spontaneous joy? And I don't mean that pew, thank God it's Friday feeling of relief. I mean real, out-of-the-blue, unprompted delight. And let's wrap this little checkup with social and spiritual. Think about the conversations you have. How many of them actually feel nourishing, like they fill you up instead of transactional? And the big one, does what you do every day feel like it aligns with what you find truly meaningful? Because when you boil it all down, the real takeaway here isn't a list of places to go. It's a completely new question to ask yourself. Instead of asking, where should I go on vacation? The real question is, what part of me needs to be restored? Because answering that question, that's the first step on a journey that doesn't just give you beautiful photos, but actually starts to make you feel whole again.